Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Yes, thank you for joining us on Ask Rob and Rob, a show where we try to make everyone a little bit wiser inside 10 minutes or so. Today we've got a couple of great questions and we are going to be responding to those with the best answers we've got. So those coming up in just a sec after we remind you how you can send in that burning question of your own.
Yes, it remains super simple to get your questions in. You can go to thepropertyhub.net/ask or you can call in. And come on, you know the number by now. It's 013 808 00035. That's 013 808 00035. And this week, Josh has followed that exact process and given us this corker of a question.
Hi Rob and Rob, Josh here from Kettering. First of all, I'd just like to say I love the property podcast, all the knowledge, information is absolutely fantastic. My question is about the app we all love to procrastinate on, Rightmove. I'm curious to know how much you look at nearby sold prices. As I said, I'm from Kettering, kind of Wellingborough area, and the houses have really pushed past their 2007 peak around 2-3 years ago. So I've started to look further afield, and this is just purely an example from Rightmove. Let's say, for example, Sunderland, a 3-bed flat, 0.3 miles from the train station. Now, in 2005, in nearby sold prices, it was sold for $170,000. But in 2017, the exact 3-bedroom property was sold for £56,500. Now, do you realistically think house prices will reach their peaks and beyond from '07 in those specific areas? I know it's difficult to have an exact kind of flat, but just as a kind of indicator. And secondly, how much do you look at nearby sold prices on Rightmove, and is it a big focus for you? Thanks very much.
Josh, I think we would be friends if we met because Rightmove is one of my favourite apps to procrastinate on too. Absolutely love it. And it seems you're digging deep into that app, which is great to see. So it's a bit of a two-part to this question. First is that specific case of a house that was worth a lot more back in '07, and today, more recently, it's been sold for a lot less. Now, those numbers do seem extreme. I will start with that. So I don't know if it was extreme high price before, an extreme low price now because the person selling is distressed, or maybe a bit of both. But to answer, will the prices come back, reach and surpass the peak of '07 in that particular area? I can say with near certainty, yes. They will, because it's happened in actually now the majority of places in the country already. Most areas of the UK have surpassed the 2007 levels of pricing. Now, of course, there's still some areas that haven't, and you found one of them, but that could indicate there's value. So well done you. But you're doing more research, which I love to see as well, and you're looking at sold prices to establish values. And is that a good way to research? Absolutely. But you need a bit of data. One piece of data isn't enough to hang your hat on. If you've got lots of sold prices and lots of data, then that should be able to guide you to whether you're paying a good price or not. Also, you have to take into account if the prices are from a couple of years ago, things may have moved up slightly. You can also look at asking prices now. Again, I wouldn't just use that alone, but you can see what the difference is between the sold prices in that particular area more recently and the asking prices, and see what sort of deal is potentially possible in that particular area. So there's lots of ways to research, but using sold prices in that area that you're looking at is definitely one of the things that you should be doing.
Okay, great answer. I hope that helps you out, Josh. Now let's have a listen to our second question today. This one comes in from Alexandra.
Hi, my name is Alexandra. I'm from Swindon. Thank you very much for a nice podcast. I really love to listen this and recommend to all my friends. I'm doing property investment and I have my own limited company where I'm buying properties. But for some things, I don't have enough money and I would like to do joint ventures. And I checked with my mortgage advisor. He said, well, then you need to give share of your company. But let's say if I don't want to give a share of my company, how otherwise I can do that to buy, like example, expensive property with somebody else? Thank you for your advice and bye-bye.
Okay, Alexandra, thank you for the question. A common situation to be in, wanting to bring other funders into the business. So the angle that I would look at this from is the kind of security that the person putting in the money is going to want. And from their point of view, the best possible security would be a first charge over the property, meaning that if for any reason you didn't pay them back, they could just basically take the property over and sell it to get their money back. Now that would be fine, but in this case, there's a lender involved because you said you were talking to a mortgage advisor, so clearly you're using mortgages. So they are always going to want the first charge, meaning that won't be available for your funder. So what can you give them instead? Well, there's various options, and let's look at them briefly in decreasing levels of security. So you could offer them a second charge, meaning that the bank gets first dibs, but whatever is left over at the end, they could have. But normally a bank is not going to be happy about allowing a second charge to come in behind them. So you could look at giving the investor an equitable charge over that property or over another, which you don't need permission from the lender for. That is less secure, but it's still something. And then even less secure than that is a restriction over the property, which just means that that investor needs to be notified before you sell it, and they could try to prevent you if they're not happy with you selling it. Or right down at the bottom, you could offer them no security at all. They could just give you the money based on goodwill and whatever agreement you have drawn up between you. I've heard of people doing all of these, and really it depends on what the investor wants. If you've got a sophisticated investor, they are going to want really rock solid security, because that from their point of view is the most sensible thing to do. If it's a close friend or family member and you've got trust between you, obviously you need to be careful there that things don't go wrong, but they might be happy with less security than somebody else would be. So there's lots of options. I'd say that the place to start, the first thing to do, is to find that person who wants to invest with you. Maybe it's somebody you already know, or maybe you're planning on putting together a list of what you've done in the past and as evidence that you can do it again, and going and finding people that way. Find them, have a conversation with them, find out what they need to get comfortable, and there will somehow be a way of putting together the security they need.
And make sure you check out our main podcast page, thepropertyhub.net/podcast, because there you can find a search bar where you can look for different podcasts where we've covered different subjects. And we've covered a fair few subjects over the years, including JVs. So if you'd like to dig into that topic a little bit more, go to thepropertyhub.net/podcast, type in JV, and listen to some of our other episodes on that subject. Which leads me nicely on to say we will be back on Thursday with the Property Podcast. And of course, we'll be back with Ask Rob and Rob next Tuesday. So until then, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.